Howdy friends! No Man's Sky's universe is full of mysteries for players to discover, from the center of the galaxy to the origins of the Atlas itself. But sometimes, you come across a mystery that has nothing to do with the lore, but rather the game's development. Like, where's my singularity engine? Will this option always be grayed out on non-expedition saves? Or, why can't Gek wear first spawn helmets, right? That doesn't make any sense. Anywho, I'm Kanaju, and these are 6 unanswered player questions. Or 6 teased features. Or 6 loose threads. I never know how to title these videos. I mean, remember when I titled the ultimate most comprehensive No Man's Sky lore video on the internet as 6 tragic backstories? I mean, yeah. Anyways, number 6. Where's the Incinerator? 2020's Desolation update brought procedural dungeons to the game in the form of derelict freighters. Their dark corridors were filled with both loot and danger, including a new enemy type known as the Swarm. These little buggers could climb on walls and ceilings and could easily overwhelm you if you weren't prepared. They seem like the perfect excuse to introduce a flamethrower to the game, and that's just what Hello Games did. On accident. The Incinerator is a flamethrower that came pre-installed on some multi-tools after Desolation released. Unfortunately, a patch a couple days later made them basically impossible to find. However, those who got their hands on them in those first 48 hours can still use the Incinerator today. Here's some footage of Zoo from Zoo Games using his. Link in the description, by the way. Zoo's pretty cool. So this was clearly an accident on Hello Games' part, as the aiming reticule is reused from the terrain manipulator, but it clearly functions. It was probably cut due to the flashing it creates in dark spaces. It's like a strobe effect. And of course, derelict freighters are dark spaces, so that could have been dangerous for certain players, but I wonder if it was cut for other reasons as well. 2022 Sentinel update added Sentinel hard frames, which came equipped with flamethrowers of their own. In the process of adding these, Hello Games also upgraded the effects of the Incinerator, implying that they likely reused the code from the multi-tool weapon in creating the hardframe weapon. Considering it's mostly already functional, and that enemies can use it, many players are left wondering when the rest of us will be able to unlock the blueprint and try it for ourselves. Or even if we'll ever get to. I'm still holding out hope, but honestly, it's been over 2 years, so I wouldn't hold my breath. Number 5. Are we ever gonna get this cool armor in the game? First shown in the key art for 2020's Origins update, and later in 2021's Frontiers update, this asymmetrical armor looks pretty cool. The red cape draped over one shoulder, the singular shoulder pauldron, heck, even the bags on the waist. I remember when this image was first released, everyone cheered that capes were finally confirmed. Of course, it took nearly 2 years, but capes did eventually arrive in the Outlaws update. This armor, though, specifically, was nowhere to be seen. Now, given how the background depicts landscapes that aren't exactly in the game today, you could interpret this image as something akin to concept art, capturing the look and feel of the update without explicitly depicting any in-game content. Much like the original cover art, the Atlas Rises artwork, or the next key art, all of these depicted approximations of the game, rather than actual features. And I would say that's a fair interpretation of this as well. However, all of those pieces are digital paintings, artistic interpretations of the game. The Origins background is also a digital painting. However, the characters appear to be actual renders of the character models. We saw this in 2019's Beyond update, where they actually used a render of the character helmet. So, sure, these have been touched up a bit in post, but for the amount of pixel-accurate details on display, it would have been downright impractical to paint these rather than just pose and render the already high-fidelity character models. So if these are character models, that means that this armor did exist in some form, as an actual model. And while the scarf around the neck appears to be rendered, the cape-like part that hangs down, it could have been painted on afterwards. Even the bags on the waist seem to have been pasted on, as the highlights don't seem too affected by the arm above it. Odd given the direction of the lighting, but it could just be how it was rendered, right? Now, there's nothing wrong at all with using this kind of concept art to promote an update in my opinion. I just find it interesting that it appears that they did in fact sculpt this armor prior to Origins, and were comfortable showing it to the player base, knowing how we are, despite it never coming to the game. Now, I'm assuming when the key art was created, they did intend to add the armor in the next 12 months. However, technical issues with cape physics likely caused them to scrap it. Still, now that we have capes, I would love to see asymmetrical designs like this, but maybe the physics with the arm, were too difficult to figure out. But heck, even without the cape, just the scarf and shoulder pauldron would be a cool armor set. But let me know what you think happened. In the meantime, I'm moving on. Number 4. Where's the solar helmet? If while reading the patch notes for No Man's Sky Fractal, you came across this section and thought, that looks a bit odd, well, you're not alone. Titled Nexus Missions on Switch, this section talks about how Nexus missions and their bounty of Quicksilver are now available to Switch users. The graphic below that shows a bunch of Quicksilver rewards and Quicksilver icons. Or does it? As far as I know, both the Exotic Wing Pack and Holographic Friend are exclusive Expedition rewards, or otherwise Twitch drops, but not available for Quicksilver. But what's odder than that is the appearance of the Solar Helmet, an item added to the files last year, with Waypoint I believe, but not yet made available to us. It's a pretty unique helmet, sporting the same translucent material used in solar ship sails. It's not entirely clear if this will be a Quicksilver item or an Expedition reward, and the first official appearance of it in Fractal's patch notes does nothing to clear that up either. So, I guess we'll have to wait and see for this one. It's just one more mystery for the pile. Number 3. Will this door ever open? Now, the redesigned Space Anomaly was added to the game in 2019. Since then, a new research terminal and gene sequencer have been added, but there's one door that's remained a mystery. The giant door at the back of the Anomaly seems like it could connect to another room or section, but so far it's remained closed. The obvious explanation is that it's merely a cosmetic door, added to imply that the Space Anomaly is bigger than we can see. However, it's different than other such doors that I've found. For example, the doors in the control room are also cosmetic. We can tell because if you glitch your camera outside of the level boundaries, you can see there's a solid wall behind the doors. No secret rooms or anything. However, glitching behind the big door in the back reveals two interesting facts. Firstly, there isn't a solid wall behind the door, so you could theoretically connect additional areas to it if you wanted to. I mean, the door is technically the wall, but there's no second wall, is what I'm saying. Secondly, there's some weird gray box geometry behind it, something that players can normally never see, and is large enough to be a room. While that wouldn't mean much if it was just like a cube or 3 walls or something, we can see it's sort of a hexagonal room with a skylight. So this unique structure lines up with the big door, and makes me think they may have planned an engine room or deeper chamber at some point, but cut it from the final area. Folks used to speculate that the Atlas Pass V4 might open this door, but so far that hasn't been the case. Speaking of which, when will the Atlas Pass V4 open something? Didn't they add like a V4 to the game files last year? Who knows. I wouldn't count on it. While we're here though, one more loose thread that has kept folks speculating is this empty booth in the market area. Seems to me that Hello Games left it open intentionally in case they ever need to add a new NPC or vendor to accompany a new feature. So it's not a missing feature or anything, but I do wonder if they'll ever fill that space. What do you think? Number 2. How do we unlock the Sentinel Freighter Trail? The Endurance update gave us the ability to customize our freighter trails last year. Some of them could be unlocked from your freighter bridge, some of them from the Quicksilver Companion, and another from the Polestar Expedition. However, the last trail, the Sentinel Freighter Trail, is still not available to this day. Much like the Solar Helmet, some people theorized it might be a reward for Expedition 9. But now that Expedition 9 is in our hands, we know that's not the case. When the update first released, I tried everything. I tried fighting Sentinels, visiting Sentinel pillars, Sentinel depots. I even destroyed multiple Sentinel dreadnoughts, since that sort of makes sense, right? Destroy a Sentinel freighter, get a Sentinel Freighter Trail. Well, that didn't work, so here I am in 2023, still wondering how this will unlock. I'm personally hoping it means more Sentinel content this year, but you never know, right? Finally, the number one question. And this really is the one I've seen the most speculation on. What the heck are space station overrides for? What do they do? When 2021's Prisms update added space station cores to the game, everyone got pretty excited. They included a dialogue option for something called a space station override. Ideas swarmed. What does it mean to override a space station? Can you take control of one, disable sentinels, build inside, modified trade routes? Anything you could think, people thought. And we figured since the big 5-year anniversary update was around the corner, we would soon have our answers. Fast forward to 2023, and folks were either disappointed, confused, or simply don't care anymore. You see, we never got a grand reveal. While the space station core did play into the new smuggling questline added in Outlaws, it didn't really do anything. We even got a hold of space station overrides. However, upon trying to use them, the core will simply tell you it's a counterfeit. So we're left wondering if there was ever going to be a bigger purpose for them, or if we simply imagined there would be. But if there wasn't, why did Hello Games add the space station override as a dialogue option? It's possible the original idea for it was scrapped at some point, or maybe it's coming this year. But either way, that's one question players have been asking for a long time. But what about you? What unanswered questions has the game raised for you? And no, I don't mean when are we getting new universe or ship customization. Come on, you know what I mean. Have you seen something that seems like it should do something but doesn't? Like, why is the right room on every space station empty, for example? Or why don't cantinas sell drinks? Or why do archive buildings have so much space, yet so little gameplay opportunities? I'm sure y'all will think of plenty, but remember to keep it civil. Just because we ask a question doesn't mean we'll receive an answer. Just like how making a video doesn't guarantee me views or likes. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching, and please consider leaving a like. Subscribing for more deep dive content is also a great idea, in my personal opinion, but you do you. Either way, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!